Yes, people, what's happening? It's another episode of Let the Punk Talk. As always, joined by Carl from Boxing Royalty and our very special guest today, Mr. JMP. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, how are you?
I'm very, very well. So James, speak to me. I know you went through the white collar scene. How comes you decided not to go through to the amateur route?
um, basically, because the first thing I did was ultra white collar.
Mm.
I randomly just watched a boxing fight on telly, and I thought, oh, I could do that. So that's why I signed up for that because I felt more comfortable going into that gym
Yeah.
when everyone else was in the same situation of
Mm.
didn't have a clue what they were doing to going into a gym where everyone knew what they were doing, if you know what I mean. You know, them
Mm.
stereotypical gym feelings people get, I had all them. So that's
Yeah.
why that's why I did that. And after I'd done that, obviously it was kind of what am I going to do now? Because I fell in love with it then.
Mm.
So what am I going to do? And I had a look at all the different options, and frankly, there wasn't enough show and enough I don't know how to explain it. Like amateur boxing is obviously just boxing, isn't it? You get in
Yeah.
the ring, you box, yeah. In my head, I needed this whole pantomime to be this other character to be able to do that,
Mm.
to box. Like I couldn't just get in the ring as James and do this. Like
Mm.
I've got to be this alter ego, this
Yeah.
other guy, and I could do that on the white collar thing because you have a big flashy ring walk and you
Mm.
have and I could get into the moment, and then by the time I've got in the ring, I'm psychotic JMP, and I'm gonna fucking take your head off,
Yeah. Yeah.
rather than I'm just James, and I've just walked like 10 feet into the ring, and like that's James ain't a fighting person,
Mm.
but psychotic JMP is. So I have to get in that zone,
Mm.
and like that switch goes, and then I'm in fight mode. But there's I need that kind of that whole show kind of thing to get in my zone, if you know what I mean.
Mm. Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. Obviously, I've seen you fight before, and I've seen obviously psychotic JMP. You come out with like the hockey mask and it's like the apron covered in blood and everything. So how did you come up with that character?
I didn't. The character kind of found its way to me, I think, because
Yeah.
um, like in my life, obviously, I've got mental health issues. I've got borderline personality disorder
Mm.
um, and paranoid personality disorder, and in my life, I've done some pretty fucking crazy, stupid shit, and I
Mm.
guess that kind of that fucking he's a fucking psychopath, fucking he's a psycho, like all these names that I've been called.
Mm.
So when I did the ultra white collar, and it was like, oh, what am I going to call myself? I just thought, look, the guy that did the white collar, one thing he said very early on in the training was, you can win the fight before you get in the ring if
Mm.
you can win it mentally. So I kind of was like, yeah, sweet. People have already called me these names anyway, so it makes no odds to me. I'll call myself it, and I'll scare the shit out of my opponent, and he'll be too scared to fight anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice
And
one.
like even the guy I fought in the white collar,
Mm.
I went on holiday during the training, and I come back, and everyone else who was doing the white collar, like, I'm not fighting him. If I have to fight him, I'm pulling out. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck that, I'll fight him. So they put
Mm.
me with him, the toughest guy in the fucking thing. And
Mm.
even he said after, like, I was fucking terrified, mate. Like, your whole way you went about it scared the shit out of him. His mum come up to me after and was like, I was so nervous because you're psychotic. And I was like, it did the job. So I've kind of stuck
Yeah.
with it.
Fair, man. Fair. So I know you obviously we know each other because of State of Mind, and I know you live up in Nottingham, isn't it?
Northampton.
Northampton, yeah. So how did you find your way down to State of Mind in Hammersmith?
Well, so I did the ultra white collar. I stayed on training with them guys for a little while, and it was Curtis and Dominic's dad who did it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I carried on training with them, and I kind of I wanted to get some sparring somewhere, but I don't know. Like I said, I've already mentioned, I find it hard to go into gyms and that, and
Hmm.
I don't want to go into a gym, or I didn't want to go into a gym and just be like way out of my depth, and like I had to try and find somewhere I felt comfortable. And Curtis said, go down there. And he said, Barry will look after you. And he did. So,
Hmm.
like, for me, I'd rather travel hour and a half, 2 hours down there to feel comfortable to spar as James, because I can't be psychotic JMP every day.
Hmm.
And the whole vibe down there, like, everyone, there's not egos and there's not bullshit, and
Hmm.
everyone kind of everyone's friendly. Everyone wants to see everyone else succeed. Even like it's not like I went down there every week, but when I
Hmm.
did go down there, everyone was like very welcoming. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So from that first time I went down there, I just kept regularly kept going. Like obviously, I used to if I was in fight camp, I'd try and go once a week. But
Hmm.
if I wasn't in fight camp, then I'd try and go once a month at least, just to have varied sparring somewhere I felt comfortable.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. And yeah, as you said, mate, the people down there are amazing. I still use the gym. It was where I started my pro career along with Barry and everyone. So yeah, obviously big shout out to State of Mind. And I know obviously James now you started like your own white collar promotion, and
Yeah.
one of your I went to one of your shows. I judged on one of your shows, and mate, it's probably, and I'm not even just saying this because you're on the channel, but probably the best white collar show I've ever been to. Like, you know, you treated everyone well. Like you had the punching bag machine on the side, which everyone was loving it. Like it was on Halloween, and you'd done a whole Halloween theme. Everyone dressed up. I got to judge. You got Ash Lane down to judge, and I think you had a like a K1 fighter or a
Yeah,
kickboxing
yeah.
world champion judging. And yeah, you put on like loads of great fights, all 50-50 fights. Everyone had to sell tickets. There was no like someone just come to lose to make someone look
No,
good.
no, yeah.
Yeah, and then you put on the rappers in between the interview intervals. You had like the magician or whatever he was, and then you had the fire starters. How did you like? Why did you want to get into that side of promotion on the white collar scene, and like how did you come up with a whole idea for the venue and everything?
Um, I mean, really, it comes down to my own experience fighting,
Mm,
and there wasn't really anything in this area.
mm,
Like the only things that were in this area were pretty poor.
mm,
So like I would travel miles and miles to get to opportunities to fight on half decent shows.
mm,
So when we opened the gym, we kind of said, "Oh, we'll do like a home show kind of thing." So we did that, but we wanted to make it a bit more than just 10 home fighters against 10 away fighters that just come to lose kind of thing. And then that's why we then come up with the checkmate promotions thing, because we wanted to move away from it being part of the gym and it more of an independent. Like we only had two fighters on the last show because we we were trying to fill a void in the market around here really for a decent show.
mm,
um so it and it's like when you box and that, like
mm,
especially on the white collar scene, you might only do a couple of fights,
mm.
and you want to be able to look back on them with fond memories, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't want to be looking back on them and they're in like some dodgy leisure centre and you've got a basketball hoop round your head kind of thing.
Mm,
Like it was it really was just about providing something quality for the boxers.
Mm. Okay, nice, man. And yeah, what mate, as I said, it was quality. So one thing that's always quite interesting to me is obviously your wife Kelly is
Yeah,
has always been in your career throughout your whole white collar scene. I think she used to do your corner, and she like trained you and so on and so forth. And obviously I know, speaking to her at your show, she's obviously got a professional license now. So I know obviously I know she's going to be in your corner, but is she also your coach as a pro now as well, or do you have someone
yeah.
else? You?
She runs the whole show, mate.
Mm,
It's her and James Conway
yeah,
have done this camp together.
yeah,
Um, so like it really is a blessing because she understands me 100%. And I think so. She come along about 3 fights ago.
mm,
She come into the camp and was part of the camp, and then the last two white collars, she just did all the training, all the coaching. I just did what she said, and the the difference in my performances, the difference how I felt in the ring, my fitness and everything was just remarkable.
mm,
So there, for me, there could only really be one person to continue me to go forward, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Um, like it's difficult for me to build relationships with people. I find it hard to trust. And I've always had problems finding a gym where I felt at home, which is why we opened the gym in the first place, really. It's
mm,
probably for my own selfish reasons, so I had somewhere for myself to train.
yeah,
Because I'd go to these other places and just not have that feeling of, oh yeah, this is like my home, I'm happy to train here. So I do what I do most of the time in my life, and I just did it for myself.
mm,
Um, but yeah, she's led the whole camp. I mean, I'm performing unreal, really am.
yeah. Good to hear.
Between her and James Conway, I had some little errors I needed to iron out,
Mm,
bad habits and stuff that I wouldn't have been able to take forward into the pro game. Um, and I really feel like in the last 8-9 weeks, I've gone up 3 or 4 levels. I
nice.
really have. Like what she's done with me is well, you'll see on the 26th because
Yeah. Mm,
it'll speak for itself.
nice, man. Yeah, it's really interesting because you've got to be, as far as I'm aware, the only like husband and wife like combination in all of boxing. I've never heard of it. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so,
I'm pretty sure that we're the only ones.
yeah, you've got to be, mate.
And probably people looking from the outside like oh, what a fucking laugh, look at them, or maybe they're judgmental of the situation, but they're not going to be judgmental when shit goes down on the 26th, because
Exactly.
I don't think anyone else could get this out of me, like
Mm,
this level of performance, this like I don't know. It's just it's a mutual thing with a coach, isn't it? And you trust them, they trust you. You do what they say. You believe in what they're saying. And for me, it's tried and tested with her because I've already felt how she's made me feel in other camps, and
mm,
now I'm feeling now. Like when I first like turned over and I thought about what am I going, who's going to coach me, what am I going to do, and there was those questions in my head like, well, can Kelly do it?
mm,
And yeah, fuck yes, she can. Like I've not had no doubts from maybe the third week in. Like it's the way I've come along, the way she's worked with James is really, yes. There ain't really words, mate. I can't thank her enough either
mm,
for that, because usually you go to the gym, your coach pisses you off, you go home, you tell your missus or whatever, that fucking dickhead made me do this.
Yeah.
I can't fucking do that. She gets me doing some mad fucking shit, and I'll have to go home and like sulk to myself.
Yeah. Nice one, man. So obviously, we know you got your first pro fight coming up, as you said, on the 26th. Just speak to me what the transition's been like from a white collar camp to your first professional camp, and like how hard's it been selling tickets and so on and so forth.
I'll be honest, the difference in training for me hasn't been that much, because as soon as I did that first ultra white collar, I said to everyone, right, that's it. I'm going to be a professional boxer. Everyone fucking laughed. Everyone said, you're having a fucking laugh, mate. Like, you're 27, 28. You've never put on a pair of gloves before. You've had one fight and you think you're going to be a pro. I was like, yes, I am. Watch this and I'll show you. So from that first moment, I've kind of took all the information I could from every pro coach, pro boxer I've ever encountered, and I've kind of put that into every camp. So I've always trained like a pro. So actually changing over into the pro ranks hasn't changed my training an awful lot. It's a little bit more intense, but I mean, overall, it's been an easy transition because I've always trained like that. The only hard thing about it is it's coming straight after the COVID lockdown. So I haven't had a fight camp for like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So them aches and pains are really just because I ain't had a fight camp for 2 years.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been overly different because I've always trained like a pro. I've always tried to train like a pro because in my head I knew where I wanted to go. I knew I want to be a pro boxer, so I'll start from now and I'll train like I would, and I ain't really stopped that. What was the other part of the question?
What's it been like with tickets and stuff?
The tickets have been pretty easy, to be honest. There was a cap on the tickets because the capacity of the venue. So I'd sold my quota 3-4 weeks ago. I've been begging for more tickets, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I could have easily done another 20, 30 probably.
Yeah, that's
But
good to hear.
I've always been able to sell tickets, to be honest. I think there's only been one fight I've had where I've sold less than 30. And weirdly enough, that fight was in Northampton. It was in Northampton. And I sold 13 tickets. I couldn't work it out. But every other fight I've sold way over 30. So
yeah.
So hopefully the next
tickets
venue
is
will
one
be
of the
big.
things. Yeah, exactly, man. Like tickets. Sorry.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on.
Oh, just to say, yeah, tickets are just one of them things that sometimes they just fly out the door. Sometimes, like, it's just like it's hard to even just sell like 10 of them. And obviously, we know, like being a pro, I've known the stress of it for years. Like, I struggled with it for a long time. I was not a ticket seller until after COVID, which obviously really shocked me because I thought if anything it would be harder to sell tickets after COVID. But luckily enough, I've done 100 on both my last fights. So yeah, man, I just know the stress of tickets and I know how hard it can be.
It's just people's bullshit that really bugs me. Like, you know, that I get paid on Friday.
Yeah.
So then you message them on Friday. They ignore you over the weekend. And then on Monday, oh yeah, I spent all my money in the pub. Well, you're a fucking dickhead, then, ain't you? Or yeah, I'll come to your next one. So the next one you message them, oh, I can't come to this one. I'll do the next one. It's that bullshit that's a joke. Like, people don't realize like what you. It's not like I'm not asking you to give me 30, 40 quid. I'm asking you to support something I'm trying to do. Like, you're all right to talk about, I'm so proud of how far you've come. You know, you got out of prison and you've made a better life for yourself. You've opened the gym, you've done this, you've done that, and now I'm so proud. But then when it comes down to buying a ticket, you're nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
I'd rather you buy a ticket than be proud, because buying a ticket continues my journey. Being proud of me doesn't actually do anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've had it all, mate. I know exactly how it is. But yeah, mate, that's all from me. I'll hand you over to Carl now. Hopefully, Carl, I'm sure Carl's got some questions for you. Carl, take the stage.
Jack, I'd just like to point out that there's been one person in your life in your last 2 fights since you've flown with tickets.
Yeah, that's a good point. That you need to get her on the coaching course, mate.
Yeah, I know I do, don't I? I do.
Right, JMP, first of all, mate, it's a pleasure to meet you and talk to you. I've been looking forward to this one. Mate, you said at the start about mental health. How does that affect you, like in camp? You know, do you get them struggles of, I don't want to go to the gym, I don't want to leave the house, or are you, because of Kelly, is it you're coming? That's it. How do you find all the mental health within boxing?
So, I guess over the years we've found the ways round the little issues there might be. Like most of the time when I train, it's me and it's Kelly, or it's me, James, and Kelly. Like it's us. I'll go to the gym. I can go to the gym even on a really fucking shit day. And if I was to feel shitty, the fight camp kind of, I would never get so bad while I'm training because it's like that routine, repetition. I've got to do this. I've got to, like, end of the day, I don't want to go down to the fight and get fucking levered because I had a bad fucking day. So you can't, it kind of gets you through to the end of the camp and then you have to fight and then you kind of, you by then your brain's reset anyway. So it doesn't really affect my training much. We had a bit of a, not an argument, but a discussion the other week because I was under the impression we weren't doing any more road runs and we were only going to be doing treadmill runs for this last bit of the camp. And so I saw on there that I had this run I had to go do. So I said, right, I'm going down to the gym to do the run. She's like, no, not in the gym, road run. I was like, you can't be dropping that on me 30 seconds before. Like, I need to prepare my brain for running outside with people and people like what looking at me and all that shit. Like, I can do that. Like, if I know that's what I'm doing. It's I struggle with like change of plans. So in my head, I was doing a treadmill run. So she switched it to a road run. I was like, fuck, that fried my brain a little bit and it weren't a great day. So I didn't cope with it very well.
So it's the last minute changes that would affect you, if anything would.
Yeah, changes and like in James Conway's gym they spar on a Sunday, but it's like they have people come from all over the fucking place. Like there's like 50, 60 people in the gym. I can't deal with that. Like that's not possible for me to do that. It be in that situation where there's so many people I don't know, like this, it's an absolute pointless exercise because I wouldn't be able to spar anywhere near the level I could spar at because my head's just frazzled from the second I walk in the door. So like when I spar down there, we arrange it at times when there's like a handful of people rather than I go down when their sparring's usually on. Like it's little accommodations like that really that I guess because Kelly's trained me for some time, she knows how to make those situations. Like if we're going down, for example, if we're going to State of Mind or whatever, she'll tell me 3 weeks in advance and then it ain't a problem. Like I can deal with it. It's like a one-off thing. Like, yeah, I'm going down there. It's a one-off thing. I can deal with it. I can overcome it. If it was like I'm going there every day, I'd find it more difficult.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's routine, sticking to a routine and knowing where you're going, which makes things easier for you.
That's it. And people say, well, if you feel like all these different ways, how can you step in a ring in front of like I fought at your call twice to a sold out thing. So I think that's 1,500 people. how can you get in the ring in front of thousands of people? Just you, just this other guy. That's it. And it all just comes down to that switch in my head that I can be psychotic JMP. And when I'm in, you don't really want to be in front of me. And nothing else fucking matters. But I can't live my day-to-day life like that. Like, I can't go into Tesco as psychotic JMP buying my fucking groceries, because it don't really work. You end up in like police cells. So day-to-day James is very different to fight night JMP. Like, it's not an act, it's a part of my personality that I just let come out for the occasion, because he's got me in enough trouble. So he serves his purpose now of beating someone up. But day to day, I obviously have difficulties day to day that I can't be JMP every day. I have to be James, unfortunately. Otherwise, life would be a lot easier for me.
No, I understand what you're saying, mate. And talking of mental health, do you think that boxing does enough to support mental health? Do you think they raise enough awareness for it, or do you think boxing could do more? And that's boxing as a whole, world boxing, not small hall charity. That's world boxing.
I think on a whole, boxing could do a lot more.
I agree.
You know, other than Tyson Fury, maybe Ricky Hatton, who really is saying anything about mental health? Which is kind of one of the reasons why I thought I was so determined to get to be a pro, so I could. It's a lot easier to encourage people to have a better life when you've come from a very dark place and achieved something like become a professional boxer. Hold on. Fucking bird. I've lost my train of thought now.
Done me as well.
Oh, bollocks.
Let's move on. If we come back to it, James, we can come back to it, mate. Debut, mate, big time. You know, this is it. This is everything you've dreamed for. Are there any nerves?
I ain't got no nerves. No nerves yet. We're a week out now, so usually from here on, maybe I'd think about it and I'd have a little, flutter. But I'm just buzzing, mate. I'm fucking buzzing to get in there and punch someone's fucking face. Like, it's been so long, like, and I'll be honest, like, I was trying to turn pro, or I was in the position of turning pro before COVID. Like, I had all these different sponsors on board. I had all this shit sorted, and then COVID hit, and I thought, this is probably going to be it now. I ain't going to get my chance because I wasn't young coming into it. Like, I'm 32 now. So I thought that's probably going to be it. So I'm just buzzing that I've come from absolutely nothing, never put on a pair of boxing gloves, to this in, I think it's like 6 years. And I don't know, I'm just buzzing to get in there and do it and show how I've improved, especially over the last few months. Probably silence a couple of doubters. I feel so ready. Like Kelly said to me about a week ago, do you feel ready? I said, I'm not sure yet. And the other day I was doing pads with James and I come out and I said, yeah, I'm fucking ready, mate. I'm fucking ready. I'm just performing at a different fucking caliber to anyone they can put in front of me, to be honest.
That's it, mate. And you've got to think every time you go into that ring that you are better than that person. It don't matter whether you're fighting fucking Anthony Joshua or a journeyman who's had 100 fights and lost 100 fights. You've got to be the best person in that ring. And if you don't think that in yourself, then you may as well not get in that ring. Mate, is Kelly there with you?
No, she's not.
She's not. Well, it'd be good to have a chat. So there's one more thing. So obviously, Jack, you're good friends with JMP. What advice as a fully fledged pro can you give to JMP ahead of his debut?
Jay, you've been there loads of times in the white collar scene, mate, so you probably know what you're doing anyway. But, just obviously listen to Kelly and James, what they tell you. The coach is always right, in my opinion. And, just ignore the crowd. Like, if you hit the man with a good shot and then you hear the crowd buzzing, like, don't go in and steam and blow it all out in one round. You've still got another 3 to go. I think you're doing a 4-rounder. So, yeah, man, just stay cool, stay calm, collected, listen to Kelly and James, and yeah, just ignore what's going on around you, mate, and just stay focused on the guy in front of you.
Tunnel vision, mate. Tunnel vision.
Exactly.
That's it. And then one for you, James. Obviously, again, Jack, I know you weren't there in March, mate, but an absolute war. I've seen this man in the gym this week, and when I see him on Friday, I've never seen him look like he looked. Even Kieran, his trainer, was shocked by it. I'm not shocked, that's probably the wrong word to use, you know what I mean, Jack, but he even said afterwards, didn't he? Said like, wow, like you're an animal. James, anything you want to say to Jack? You'll see him before, obviously, but anything at the head of his biggest fight?
I think this one's in the bag, to be honest. I think the last one was just a warm-up. I watched it back and I gave my comments to Jack and said from a coaching point of view what I thought, and he agreed with what I said. And from the video I saw the other day, what I picked up on, he seems to have improved that. And I think if that's improved, there's no way that that he can get anywhere near him.
No, I completely agree, mate. Like I said to you, Jack, the shots that you're working on, they were there in March, but they weren't there with this sting and this effect, the movement. And again, the movement was always affected by the cut, but I said it to Ryan last night. I said, I don't see this fight going past 4 rounds. I really don't. And there's nothing I want to see more than this man lift that belt in July, I tell you, genuinely. And I hope, James, obviously your debut, I hope that you just get in there, mate, and you do what you do and you come out victorious as well.
I very much hope so. And I can't see it going any other way, the way I feel, to be honest.
I actually had, when I put it on my story yesterday, I'm not going to tell you who, someone come back to me and said, say hi from his favourite sponsor, and we look forward to seeing him in the ring next Saturday. Any ideas who that's from?
That's got to be White Fox, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, Mark at White Fox, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, mate, any thank yous? Anything you want to say while you got the time now?
Well, it's got to be a massive thank you to Imagine Building and White Fox, because without Imagine, the whole process wouldn't have been possible. And how White Fox have supported me month on month, like saying, well, we're hoping to have a fight here, Just the way they've backed me is very special, and I'm very appreciative, both of them. And obviously Kelly, because I wouldn't be here without Kelly. What she's managed to get out of me is special. How she's worked with James and brought him on board to cover certain things. I just can't wait, mate. Can't wait for Sunday.
No, I can see how grateful you are of Kelly. You can see it in how you're speaking. And I know Terry speaks very highly of Kelly as well, mate. So, yeah, mate, just good luck, Jack. That's everything from me, mate.
Sweet.
Thank you very much.
We'll wrap it up there, guys. James, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, mate.
No worries, man. Anytime. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Let the Punk Talk. Peace.